Hello Channel NITT viewers, I am DS, your psychologist, and welcome to another episode on Channel NITT. So in one of our previous episodes, we talked about NI and how NI helped me as an ENTJ. Actually, NI is a rare cognitive function with only 8% of the population, the world population, using NI either as the dominant function or the auxiliary function. So NI may seem like a very curious function for many of those who do not use NI as a dominant or auxiliary function. In fact, some auxiliary users of NI like the ENFJ and the ENTJ may not even realize that they are using NI because it's an unconscious, subconscious process. So in the previous episode, I narrated how I use NI in a more concrete manner. So NI does help me in filtering, deciding, and it also entertains me. So in this episode, we're going to talk about NI from another perspective, NI from a more mystical perspective. So one of the important things I need NI for is that NI is very grounding for me. NI makes me feel very grounded, secure, and stable. Without NI, I can be very impulsive. I can also be very devilish. So what it means is that sometimes if I just unleash my SE, I may just go around becoming very critical, bossy, what you may expect of an unhealthy ENTJ. But one very important function of NI for me is that NI helps me to tap into the collective conscious. So this may start to sound a little bit weird or even unbelievable for many viewers, but I think NI believers, especially NI dominants who are able to use this power may understand this and will understand this. What is it? So NI helps me to predict the future, tell the past, and tell about present events of other people. So the collective consciousness is a reservoir which contains everyone's memories, histories, past experiences, the hurt that we have, the joy that we have. Sounds very mysterious, right? Very strangely, if you are able to tap onto NI properly, you will be able to get another person's emotions. So I do not need FE, but if I use NI, I can feel and imagine what you are going through. So as a high NI user, I'm able to tell a stranger's past. So how does this work? If I just got to know a person for the first time and I am willing to do so, I can tell this person, you want to give it a try? Just give me 3 numbers. Use your intuition and then give me 3 numbers. So using these 3 numbers, I will be able to tell a past event that happened specifically to this person. And it is not a generic event like, oh, you were a very honest person, or oh, you are a very intelligent person. So what I'm going to tell about you is not a generic event like, oh, you are a very honest person or you went to school. You know? But you were bullied when you were in school. It doesn't happen to anybody, right? But I was able to translate the numbers into an event that happened specifically to that person. And I use NI to do it. And so far, it has always been accurate. It's true. So a lot of times I have been considering doing this episode because it is quite unbelievable for many people. They might be very skeptical about it. However, natural instinct has always been saying you should focus on your SE more. So I am somehow compelled to do this episode to explain why NI is so important to me. So if you can do some research on NI, introverted intuition, either on Google or Wikipedia, you would probably find that NI is a very mysterious trait. It doesn't only help in what I have explained in my previous video, it also is a type of gift that is used by fortune tellers in the past, witches and wizards in the past. Of course, some people will say that this is rubbish, some people will say that this is satanic, but it is actually not so mysterious. There is this collective consciousness, yes. All you need to do is just to use your NI and latch onto it, tap onto it, and then you'll be able to tap into a global universal emotion or something like that. It's very hard for me to explain. Probably an NI dominant user may be better at explaining it. So tapping into the collective consciousness is not just about telling a person's past, present, or future. It is also tapping into a sort of a global energy or global emotion. It's just so hard to explain this. So let's say I can suddenly just feel depressed out of nowhere because I am tapping into the sadness of the entire population or community. So out of nowhere, so I can be listening to a song, I can be watching a movie, then suddenly I can feel immensely upset. It's as if suddenly my antenna has tapped onto some global type of depression, or some depression of another person or of a community. So this can come suddenly. It's just like suddenly I might feel that existing in the world is so depressing. There is so much emptiness in living on earth. You know, it just comes very suddenly. There is no cause for this depression. It just hits me because my antenna, my NI, seems to have just captured it. And I can go on a depression mode for a few hours. But luckily I'm an ENTJ, so I just like kick it out of the door. So personally, I can really imagine how come people like the INTJ and the INFJ, who are NI dominant, can feel depressed for a very long period of time without any reason. That's because your NI is tapping into some unknown form of depression or some global depression, like the depression of the world. That. Something like that, I hope you understand. Okay, not all gloomy. I can also tap onto universal love. So let's say I feel very lonely and I just focus, I can also tap onto universal love and feel full of love and energy. That's also possible. So it really depends on what you consciously want to tap. Anyway, this is nothing to do with like I can see ghosts, I can see spirit, that kind of thing. It's just tapping into something called the collective consciousness. Of course, the ghost may be in the collective consciousness, but I was never able to tap on that. So some NI users might find that this is weird because they have never experienced this before. This is because you have never used your gift enough to know how to use it properly. So at the right time, in the right place, you will suddenly have your NI opened to give you much more than you expect or than you had wished for. So in my case, I am very happy now that I can tell with some form of accuracy of what is going to happen to me in the future. And so definitely I am not going to sacrifice my NI. And natural instinct, you are correct. SE is something that I'm very weak in because I consciously use my NI. But NI is very important to me. SE will just pull me away from NI. So NI is like becoming a monk, becoming meditative, going into this inner imagination zone. So SE will pull me out of it. So engaging in a lot of SE activities will really pull you away from NI, which is this powerful gift that I have found for myself. One thing strange about NI is that NI always pulls me towards other NI users. It's as if we are all star seeds or we are all from a different star. It just feels so much that we do not belong on Earth. We are actually some beings from another star. You know, if you are an NI user, you probably will understand this feeling. So if you are an NI user, you will definitely find yourself attracted very deeply to other NI users as well. It's as if you were soulmates, or in your past life or whatever you want to call it, you were already together. You already know each other. Or you are all from outer space, something like that. The feeling is so immensely strong that when you tell another person, they might think that okay, strange, but never mind, let them be. But we know it very well, it's something very NI. So NI and SE are opposites. If you have to use NI, you have to suppress SE. But in one of our previous episodes, we have already discussed, if you keep suppressing a function, it will just accumulate enough energy and explode one day, right? So I am not a monk after all, I am not like a god or something like that. So definitely I use NI consciously as a human being. My SE is suppressed in order for me to use NI. And what happens? SE will accumulate enough energy. So as a third function, as long as it accumulates until like 60%, it will need to unleash, just flow out. So how does SE flow out appear in an ENTJ like myself? So when SE floats onto the surface, as an ENTJ, I go on an SE rampage, which means to say suddenly I just indulge a lot in SP just to get rid of the SE energy. And how do I do that? I may go on a binge eating mode. I eat a lot actually, even though I'm very skinny. Then I go on a shopping spree, just compulsive buying for a moment, and then it goes away. I may even go on like impulsive investment or sometimes gambling, yes. So these are all possible things that I do as an ENTJ because of the suppressed SE floating to the surface. So I hope this episode does not frighten many other non-NI users because they may not understand this. Some NI users may not even know that they have a gift that is yet to be polished and that could actually give them immensely huge superpowers. The power of wisdom, the power of knowledge into the past, present and future. So personally, I am really very hesitant of talking about this supernatural NI ability, but if you are really interested in this topic and want me to talk more about it, then I can probably do more videos on it if you comment and tell me about it. Okay? And of course, if you have not subscribed, do consider subscribing so that we can bring you more ENTJ and MBTI. Okay, I'm going to sign off now and I'll see you in my next episode. Goodbye!